Tony Pacenti, we're going to talk to him at top of the hour, right after news, top of the hour. And Tony, of course, yesterday put out a commercial. The governor's office put out the commercial, and it is Tony Pacenti endorsing Governor Andrew Cuomo. In studio right now is Bruce Karam. While I'm not going to have you comment on that, you can imagine today's going to be a heated day for the county executive. A lot of people are up in arms about the endorsement of the governor.
He's not going to bite.
He's not going to comment. He's not going to bite. There's nothing to say. It's just that a lot of people are, the calls we're getting are pretty heated.
I think Mr. Pacenti does an excellent job. I think he works very hard. I think his heart is in the right place, and I think he does, in this respect, I think he does an excellent job, and he's doing everything he can do from that end. Outside of that, I don't know enough about
I will say the politics end of all of that, but when it comes to the governor, and schools have been at odds with this governor because he hasn't acted, and you'll see a lot of especially the left saying he hasn't acted like a Democrat. He's really gone after schools, and it's caused a lot of problems in districts like yours.
Well, Bill...
I know you didn't expect me to be talking about this.
No,
I'm throwing you a curve.
I can't really comment on the political arena because I just don't know enough about it,
What you do know about is this grant was definitely not popular with not only the parents, but also, I'm surprised. I thought the teachers would have supported this.
Well, let me start. I think we got to do a little history first.
Yeah.
As you are aware, back on July 7th, we were notified by the state that we were awarded this extended learning time grant. Then it came out that there were some provisions in this grant by the state that there was a mandatory compulsory attendance requirement.
Yeah.
It wasn't a voluntary attendance. Therefore, some concerns and issues were raised, and what we did was we put a process in place because we really wanted to hear what the public had to say, what the parents had to say. So I scheduled town forums in the 5 affected school buildings. Scheduled them, went around and did a short presentation on the basic facts of the grant, and then answered questions, and also took public comment. While visiting each one of these public forums, town hall meetings, we took a straw poll, and the straw poll was overwhelmingly against extending the school day. It was just not a thing that was supported by parents, and we understand that, we accept that, and that's what we wanted to hear what everyone had to say before we made a final decision on whether or not we were going to accept this grant and then move forward.
And I'm assuming some of the complaints that the parents had, some of them probably were legitimate.
Very valid, absolutely very valid, and there was logistical concerns that we had also because of the parameters of this grant, that trying to implement the grant would have been very difficult.
Yeah.
And and then there was also safety concerns with the daylight savings time coming, and student walkers that walk home after dark.
Yeah.
So we had safety concerns, and there was just a lot of issues with this due to the restrictions on the grant.
And where were the teachers on?
Well, to answer, and I was getting to that, to answer your question on that, first of all, let me say, I've been in this district over 25 years, and I got to say, our teaching staff is second to none. We have a top-rate, high-class teaching staff. They are a bunch of dedicated professionals that do an outstanding job day in and day out, and they care very deeply for the kids and for the school district. When it came to this particular issue, and of course, due to collective bargaining agreements, we surveyed the teaching staff, and of course, this would have to be a voluntary participation on their part, although they would be compensated.
Yeah. They like $10,000, I think, was what the teachers would get. Somewhere in that vicinity.
Somewhere in that, roughly over a year's time.
Yeah.
And after surveying them, which you know, we wanted to know what the participation rate was
Yeah.
going to be, because to run a program like this, Bill, we want to be successful. And if we're not going to be successful, you know, then we're not going to do it. And
Right,
in
right.
order to be successful, like you know, we needed the full cooperation and support of the teachers and the parents, and that wasn't there. You know, like I said, we have great teachers.
Yeah.
They do a phenomenal job, and they, you know, the majority of them chose that they would not participate, which they
without
have a
the-
right to do.
So without the teachers and without the parents, where are you going on this?
That's just it,
Yeah.
Bill. That's just the point here. After collecting all this information and reviewing all the facts and taking a look at the concerns and issues that were raised at the public forums and the town hall meetings, and seeing that we didn't, we would not have the teaching staff available
Yeah.
to staff the buildings for an extended school day, the decision was made that we could not move forward on this, and the Board of Education voted last
Everybody
night.
unanimous on that last
Yes,
night. Kristine?
based on all the facts.
Yeah.
And I believe it was a good decision based on the facts and based on the circumstances.
One of the things that was brought up last night, and although some objected to the term dangling the money in front of the school board, it was said that the money is there, that could be provided by the state. It's definitely, no one argues the fact that the district needs the money. Where does the district go from here? Will you attempt to secure more funding for the district, because the district is in dire need of that funding, regardless of, you know, in what form it is, or another grant? Will you seek another grant?
Well, that's a great question, Kristine. And again, this all goes back to the historical perspective. First of all, everyone knows that the Utica City School District is the fifth poorest in the state.
Yeah.
The foundation aid formula that we receive our general aid with in order to hire teachers and keep teachers employed, we're not getting our fair share. So because of that, over the last 3 years, we've had to lay off over 250 teachers. Therefore, what we see now, this translates into higher class sizes. And I believe, before we could even get into extending even a day, we need to fix the basic problem, which is the state aid formula, which will allow us to hire more teachers and recall the teachers we had to lay off, so that we can decrease the class sizes to begin with. I believe if we had the smaller class sizes, you would see the achievement levels go
Right,
up.
right.
And obviously students would be reaching their potential. If we started like that, then we can move into
Right.
other issues. And this was another issue that was brought up, and I think it's a very, very valid one.
So if you talk to certain people about the Utica School District, they will talk about the opportunities. And if you look at the opportunities that kids have in other districts around this area versus the opportunities that are had at Proctor, it's really astounding what you guys offer, what this school offers. But you're a large school in a somewhat large city. We're smaller than all the other large cities, but we're the large city in this area.
Correct.
So large city, inner city schools tend to struggle, but at the same time, you have shining moments that somehow get ignored because everybody focuses on the overall.
Absolutely, and that's a great point you just made there. I mean, in Utica, for example, like you just said, at Proctor High School, we offer the most advanced placement courses and dual credit college courses in the area, 30 of them,
Yeah.
in all different disciplines. So nobody else offers the numbers that we offer and the opportunities that we offer our students. And this goes back when we had to make difficult budget decisions on what we were going to cut over the last 3 years due to the lack of state aid. We had to make tough choices. But one of our priorities, obviously, has got to be education,
Yeah.
and what we offer and the opportunities that we offer our students. So although we had to make very difficult budget decisions, I made sure we kept intact things like the opportunities for advanced placement classes so students could get college credit when they moved on to college, and the dual credit college classes, the agreements that we have with several colleges in the area, so that students not only got a high school credit, but also received a college credit. So those kinds of programs we kept intact, And, you know, we had to make other difficult budget decisions in order to balance the budget, because as you know, Bill,
Yeah.
by law, we have to have a balanced budget.
I'd like to commend you and the staff and the whole district on your outreach, the information with the forums. You sought the advice, the opinion of students and teachers and parents. More importantly, as Kristine pointed out, though, the funding, you still need the funding. Are you concerned that the state looks at this and says, last year there was a grant for teachers, and I think the union turned that down, and then they provided this avenue for more instruction and more financial support. Does the state look at that and say, I mean, we're giving you these avenues, but you're not taking them?
Well, you know what, I think they will also look at, for example, there was a school district on Long Island, Southampton. A couple of weeks ago, their Board of Education voted down the Extended Learning Day grant too. When you place restrictions on a grant, on what you can do and can't do, and you don't have enough flexibility in order to create and develop a program that's going to fit the needs of the district and fit the needs of the community, then, you know, you run into problems as we just saw here. And I think they will take that into consideration when they take a look at this, and and I'm sure they're going to understand the reasoning behind this and the facts that were collected. But I'm very happy we decided to go with public forums, because we wanted to hear what parents, teachers, and students had to say.
They were vocal.
And they were very vocal.
Yeah.
They were very vocal, and that's a good thing. That is a very good thing. Because they raised a lot of issues and concerns when going to implement a grant of this nature, that many of them were very valid.
Okay, so I wasn't able to lure you into the Cuomo question. I couldn't lure you into the Pacenti question. So I'm going to lure you into one more. Giants or Royals? Are you a baseball fan? Or are you following the World Series? Now, that's one you can take on.
I like the Giants.
Okay, all right. You know, there's a New York Giant. There's a New York. Remember, the Giants, they come from New York originally.
However, I wish the New York Yankees were there.
Yeah, a lot of people
I knew
do
he
that,
had to
yeah.
be a
You gotta get on it.
I am a Yankee fan. My whole family are
We're
Yankee
Mets fans here, unfortunately.
Not all of us, thank you.
Oh,
We are. Anyway.
I just suffer through listening about Mets news.
Bruce, Karam, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So,
Bill, it's
good
always a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you so much.
He'll be the fifth member of our Beatles group here at some point down the road. When you retire, you'll retire to the studio here. I think that's.
I hope I'm right next to you, Bill, when I
Okay.
retire.
Beautiful. 7:50.